Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Bishop, the Tier 5 British SPG. It's located on the south spawn of Siegfried Line, and it's under the command of BassmanFromHell. Yes, we're continuing the series of videos on his birthday, and this one is with the Bishop, which is an Arty, which was basically a bit of a stopgap actually. It was designed on the Valentine tank, and I think you can see the hull is pure Valentine, even down to the corrugated engine cover, which is actually one of the weak spots on this vehicle. They built a casement around where the turret was usually and put a 25-pounder gun in there. But the problem was that the casement actually limited the ability of this Arty to fire long range. So in order to fire long range, they actually had to park the Arty on a ramp, and that would increase the elevation of the gun artificially and enable it to fire further. It's actually got quite a short range in the game, which you can see that on the mini-map, but it's a very effective Arty because it's got a very fast reload rate, and of course it's very, very accurate. Now it's actually a 4.5 inch gun that they've actually mounted for the game, not a 25-pounder. And it's capable of 450 alpha and penetrating through 28mm of armour. So he's got his first hit there. It's also got a burst radius of 2.22 meters, which means even if you land the shell fairly near the enemy Arty, you're probably going to track him. And with the fast fire rate, it means that you can, if you track a vehicle, keep tracking him indefinitely until he dies. It's like the death by 1,000 cuts. The same thing basically with the FB304, which carries the same gun. Now some actually believe that this Arty is actually better than the Fifi, the 105 FH18V2, which of course is one of the only two premium SPGs in the game, because it's basically very fast firing. As you can see here, he's got a reload rate of 10.21 seconds. The standard book reload is 12.37, so he's knocked 2 seconds off it, and he's got his first kill. He's taken out the Excelsior. Now the British only produced 149 of these, and they were used in the desert and also in Italy. But they actually stopped producing them because it wasn't a very efficient Arty, and so they decided in the end they wanted a custom built one, because they tried buying some M7 priests from the Americans, but of course they all mount the 105mm gun, and of course the British didn't use the 105 as a field howitzer. They wanted an Arty which actually had a 25-pounder, because they built plenty of 25-pounder rounds, and of course most of the Arty units would have 25-pounder guns. Just a little lagging there on the T14, and that T14, well, he drove out to try and kill the Excelsior. Might not work out too well for him. That's a direct hit. So what the British did is a stopgap. They bought some M7 priests off the American on Lend-Lease, and they used them, but of course they had to buy the ammunition from the Americans as well. And in the end they designed the Sexton 1, and the Sexton was built in Canada and utilised the 25-pounder gun, so of course that made it that the British Army only had to carry one type of ammunition, the 25-pounder ammunition, to make the thing work. Rounds out in the Excelsior. It landed right next door to him and did 150 hit points of damage in the process. He's now basically a one-shot. If he can land this one on him, he'll kill him. Oh! Didn't land it on him, but it landed next to him for 100 hit points, and the next shot kills him. That shot came from the KD-1. Now, the Bishop was a bit of a rushed attempt at making an SPG, and it couldn't carry a whole lot of ammunition actually. In the game you could get to carry 39 rounds of ammunition. Well, that was back then when this game was played. This was in 2020. But they actually used to carry a trailer pulled behind the Bishop, and as David Fletcher will tell you, trailers and tanks don't match very well, because of course it causes all sorts of problems when you have to reverse. Yeah, the trailer actually blocks your reverse. Because, of course, if you're slightly to one side, there's any slight angle between the two, the trailer is going to kind of jackknife and block you from reversing any further. Also, trailers, when they're being pulled behind a tank, have a tendency to, well, wobble and just hinder the tank altogether. And, well, it's just bad news altogether. If you ever see David Fletcher talk about trailers and tanks, you'll get to know what I mean. He understood it perfectly. But they had to carry a trailer, and that trailer had to carry the ammunition simply because the bishop couldn't carry enough. And there he's going for the enemy bishop and gets a hit. 95 hit points. He's a one-shot now. This next round will kill him, and in fact, actually, somebody gets there before him. It's KV1. Rounds out the T-34. Direct hit. 165. Fairly thin armor on that T-34. He didn't get a penetrating shot though, because it's 450 alpha on the 4.5 inch gun. And he only got 165. He got 147 there on the Churchill 3, and he's cracked him. Next round going out. Rounds out. Another hit, 63. It permatracks him basically. So long as those shells keep coming in, he's in danger. He's actually switched to the C1 Heavy, who's actually closer to him, very close. And he's now got 20% of the enemy hit pool, which means that he's on for a high caliber if he can keep this up. Rounds out. Direct hit. It's almost simultaneous now because he is very close to that T1 Heavy. I mean, he's literally lobbing the shells in at this guy. The T1 Heavy, he's aiming at the wrong target. If he keeps firing at the Matilda Black Prince who's nearby, yeah, he's going to die. And it was the Matilda who actually killed him in the end because he wasn't aiming at the right target. Yes, it was Bassman who was actually taking away all his hit points bit by bit. And the Matilda, he was just doing minor damage until the kill shot went in. There's only 4 enemies left. There's 8 on Bassman's team, and he's already done just under 2k of damage in a tier 5 Arty. That's a huge amount of damage. He's actually lost sight of the enemy because his teammates haven't moved far enough through the town. The only one that has is the M10 RBFM, and he's actually hunting in the enemy rear looking for their Arty. They still have 2 Arty, an M41 and a Fifi. And there's the T-34. Now he can get a shot. This guy fires, but it's a bit late. But he needn't worry because the M10's finished that guy off. He's now aiming towards a Churchill 3 who's also fairly close. Rounds out. Another direct hit for 103. He's tracked. He's stuck. And that was a shell from the other Arties on our team. And the kill shot comes from Bassman, so he's got 2 kills now. There's only 2 enemies left, both of them Arty. As I said before, the M41 HMC and a Fifi, the 105 FH18B2, the French Tier 5 Premium SPG, one of only 2 premiums in the game. The other, of course, being the Sexton 1. And it's kind of funny, isn't it, that Wargaming would build all of those premium tanks of tank destroyers, of medium tanks, of heavy tanks, but they only build 2 premium Arty. Could that be that the players would be very, very angry if Arty actually had more than 1 premium? Could it be that there'd be howls of anguish from the other players? No, because they buy that tank as well. They buy the Arty. Wargaming always sells a lot of the Fifi, the 105 FH18B2, simply because everybody wants to have one to try it out. And in fact, even after the Arty changes in 1.13, it's still a very popular Arty, and lots of people are playing it, and of course this Bishop. Because of course, even though the changes were made, this vehicle is still basically the same, except now it has these bright tracers coming out, and of course those tracers and the shells make whistling noises. In fact, it might be said that some of the lower tier Arty are now much more popular than they were before, simply because Wargaming have made them popular by making the top tier Arty much more unplayable. Okay, he's going for the M41, who was spotted hiding behind that bunker. Dialed in. This looks very good. Rounds out. This could be a kill shot. It is! That's 3 kills now for the baseman, who's an expert Arty player. As you saw in the last replay we did of him is the Hummel. And, well, he beat the other Arty players on that team, took out all 3 of them. Now, we think the other Arty is in the corner, the far northwest corner of the map. Team 1 Heavy's going to look for him, but he's actually moved, and he's now over in the west. Baseman can get a shot on him, and he's just sorting it out, dialing in. Here we go. Rounds out. This should be an accurate hit. It is. 185. 1 more shot to kill. Was it 2 shots to kill? Hopefully it'll be 1. Rounds out. Kill shots! Wins the game. 4 kills for the baseman, and he wins the game. Here's the end of battle stats for that game. That was an ace tanker game for the baseman from hell in the Bishop. Yes, he managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 4 exactly. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 19. He did get the high caliber because he did do more than 20% in the enemy hit pool and more damage than any other player in the game. And on top of that, he actually got a Confederate as well because he hit 6 tanks, which was subsequently killed by other teammates in the game. And his win rate from the battle was 9,890, which is Super Unicum standard. He says, I say again, the Bishop is better than the Leffy. Well, yeah, that's a matter of opinion, I think. We'll leave you with that opinion. There you go, top of the table, 2,614 hit points. The next high scorer was the enemy Fifi with 1,926. And the third highest damage was the KV1 on Baseman's team with 1,626. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those with 4. The Fifi was the other high killer. He had 3 kills. And when it came to base XP, yeah, he's got that one as well. He's got the top in all 3 columns. This is Arty when it's most powerful. 1,042 base XP is the only one over 1,000. 969 went to the KV1. 876 went to the Churchill 3. He fired 28 rounds in that game. You only had 39 rounds, so he actually ended up with 11 spare. 20 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetration. I suspect that the penetration was the M41 HMC. Yes, it was. Yes, he went straight through it, blew it to pieces with 1 round. Very easy kill. Very good kill because he was fully dialed in. Accurate shot. 21 splash on the enemy as well. 2,614 hit points of damage, of which 2,149 were at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, so that's 2/3 of the team were killed by him, or damaged by him, and 4 enemy tanks were killed. 1,027 hit points of damage assistance as well. On a premium count, he earned 48,360 credits, got 24,180 from personal reserves, total of 72,540 credits altogether. After ammunition, resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of 45,540 credits altogether. He also picked up 2 bonds for mission achievement, 1,563 XP, and there was no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. So, yep, another game proving that the baseman from hell is deadly with an Arty. He doesn't always play Arty, he actually plays a lot of other tanks as well, but he just happens to be rather good at all of them. And so, yes, if you ever come up against the baseman from hell and he's in an Arty, oh dear, count your blessings, you're probably going to die to him. Yeah, you might die to him. If he's on your team, he's probably going to be instrumental in winning the battle. I hope you enjoyed this replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And we'll be back with more battles from the baseman from hell in other Arties very shortly. So stick around and thank you for watching.